The US tends to have the War of 1812 over the Napoleonic Wars, even when one was a direct cause of the other. But America wasn't really involved in the Napoleonic Wars, whereas 1812, the White House got burnt down, which is why it's white, because they had to whitewash it to hide the burned timbers. At least that's what I've been told. Don't study the Crimean or the Boer Wars either. That is also true. No, we don't study them either. Hey, Bamboozle. Yeah, it's weird. We spent way more time studying the Aztecs than we studied, like, the Napoleonic War. So, Austria, still fighting against Baden, Lorraine and Provence. Still trying to take Baden's territories and currently being occupied. Austria, where are your armies? You have 9,000 men. That's a lot less than I expected. Most of them being mercenary. Even a mercenary... Ooh, that's expensive. 1.9 ducats a month for one regiment. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. Wait until you have 1,000 manpower, then buy a cannon. Don't get mercenary cannons. It's much better to have 3 or 4 mercenary infantry than a mercenary cannon. Because a mercenary infantry is 0.06, so you could get 2, maybe even 3. Yeah, you can get 3 infantry for 1 cannon. That's super duper expensive. Sweden owning Riga seems weird. Oh yeah, had not noticed that. So Riga was one of the objectives for Hamburg. I'm a little disappointed that Hamburg's not around anymore. Hamburg's goals were really cool because it was basically to recreate the Hanseatic League. So they needed Scotland, they needed Riga, they needed Novgorod, though I would have allowed them to take Neva instead. In fact, I probably would have changed that to Neva because Novgorod's inland. Danzig, that was another one. It would have been interesting to have a Baltic trading power. Unfortunately, Denmark put paid to that particular idea. Right, I want to take a look to see how the Portuguese colonial situation is going. So they have now gone for Mahayo, which is salt. Still can't believe this is gems, you lucky sod. And they, I think, have developed it up a bit. It was a level 4 when it started. So Portugal is well and truly on the way. Doesn't look like anyone's gone for the Caribbean yet, and I'm a little bit surprised that he's going for the 2 provinces here. Maybe he's trying to form a colonial nation before moving on, although I think I would have started to grab the centres of trade in the Caribbean, because you can use this as a jumping ground, so you've definitely got the range out into the Caribbean now. You can see how all of that is green, though not Havana, interestingly. But you can still get some of the other stuff back here, and then you can also start the Caribbean colonial nation, which is vital for sending money back to Iberia. Just out of curiosity, do you not spend time on Russo-Japanese War? Just curious, since I'm from America and never even heard of it until I started watching history videos on YouTube. We covered it very briefly, like maybe a half-hour sentence saying those two were at war at one point. That probably caused a lot of the tensions between Japan and China, because Japan was feeling good about having beaten Russia. So as a cause of World War II, we cover it, but not in like, yeah, these are the things that happened. Blue Kiwi's saying something, but I don't know what he's saying. And now there is only one war. Europe is surprisingly quiet after the humbling of Aragon, which Castile gobbled up the remains of. So Castile is trying to become the preeminent Iberian power, and he does have a level 3 general who's pretty good, 5452. That's actually a really good general. Too bad the shock is 4 and the fire is 5, but still, I wouldn't say no. What are these guys talking about? What did I miss? Isn't the one on the left a native civ? Oh, was it? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But Para is a colony. I wasn't going completely mad. I knew he'd finished this one. Hey, Duke. Study the Russia-Japan War for 5 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about what we did. Chinese the past 200 years before World War II were a disaster. They weren't a golden age for China, that's for sure. But China does also have some interesting history, which is never covered. Like, I knew nothing about China until I started playing things like EU4, like Ming. Meant nothing to me. Three Kingdoms? Nothing. Until Total War Three Kingdoms. And I'm, like, only just realizing, oh, China's actually got a really interesting history. Same with India. Like, learning about all the Indian principalities and stuff. Nope. It was a part of the British Empire. That's all we ever learned. We built railroads. Four lights going for 61. Oh, Brandenburg's trying to sell their navy. I guess. Does Brandenburg actually have light ships? Yes, it does. They're probably quite old. Diplotech's still 8. And he is ahead of time, so next level we'll get caravels, which is when trade ships actually become really good. Well, better. My history class covered at the war only if a chance to expand on how amazing Teddy Roosevelt was for helping end it with his mediation. Russian fleet sailed all the way around the world to get sunk by Japan. Is Hearts of Iron 4 worth the money? Hearing so much about the AI, I got very frustrated with the EU4 AI, sometimes I've held off on it. I mean, if the EU4 AI pisses you off, then Hearts of Iron AI will definitely piss you off. It is on sale at the moment, so you can get it cheaper if you go especially to this link here, and I'll get a little kickback. Yes, I would say it's worth it. Make sure you get it on sale, and play it once with Italy, then get Kaiserreich. Then it's definitely worth it. Like, Hearts of Iron is good because of the mods. But you will get frustrated by the AI. Believe me. Have I tried any Mountain Blade mods? Hold on, let me just scroll up to that again. Like 867 and the 1257 AD mods. I tried the 1257 mod, I think. Prophecy of Pendor I played an awful lot of for some bizarre reason. I played a lot of Prophecy of Pendor. And also 100 Years War. I really liked the 100 Years War mod, actually, for Mountain Blade. And I learned a lot of 100 Years War history from that, because we never studied 100 Years War in school. I just realised that. Like, a huge portion of English history, we never studied it. At all. Everything I know about the 100 Years War, which is far less than I should, basically 2 battles, Agincourt and Cressy, is because of games and stuff, like Age of Empires. This is really, like, highlighting how terrible history teaching in school is. Wow, it's bad. Growing up in America, the only Asian history I ever learned was China fought Japan, World War II, and Vietnam and Korea, of course. That was quite literally it. We didn't study Vietnam or Korea. Yeah, we basically did nothing with Asia either. The only thing was India's part of the empire. That's it, really. Hong Kong came up, but that's just because Hong Kong was being passed back to China. To be honest, as we all discovered, thanks in good part to Paradox and Creative Assembly, history is so rich that you really can't focus on one event for a whole year. Giving a global view from antiquity to modern day is a real challenge for your teachers. True, but they spent an awful lot of time, for example, studying the Tudors, or studying the Stuarts. And interestingly, when we studied the Tudors, did we cover, like, the Age of Discovery? The fact that Elizabeth was one of the big proponents of colonization of America? Nope. Except for Walter Raleigh, who came back and introduced tobacco. I think that was the only... Oh, and Francis Drake. We did study Francis Drake. Who was a very interesting character. Did we ever learn 7 Years' War? Nope. I didn't even know about the 7 Years' War until I played that Prussian... that game as Prussia last week. Didn't know it was a thing. Rip Great Horde. Rip Great Horde. Kazan killed them. Nom 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 nom. And that is still a pretty scary Timurid. Oh, I can't type in chat anyway.
Mordred.
Hello.
Hey, can we remove protection on Great Horde? Kazan just took half their provinces.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to say no because it would be unfair because other players may also want a chunk, but we'll almost certainly remove it for next session.
Okay.
Because, yeah, Great Horde is not really playable, same as Bavaria. Problems with the Hearts of Iron 4 AI would be 90% less aggravating if they simply program the AI to design better divisions. How hard can that be? AI divisions aren't that bad anymore. That was certainly a problem when it first released, but now they've got like templates for the AI to like say, okay, if you want to do this AI, then you should probably have a division template like this. They don't produce like 20 templates anymore, which is a massive waste of land experience. The problems with the AI is the way that they use the front lines, which is also a problem for players. Oh no, we didn't study Agincourt in history. I did a Henry V, the play in English literature classes, and the English teacher did a quick historical primer. You're lucky you even got the historical primer. There was no context for us. Before you get carried away with what you did not study, remember the facts are now easy to find. Big part of history should be learning how to work out what happened. Yeah, but you have to be introduced to the fact that this stuff actually happened at all. Which is where these history games are so good. It's like, oh, by the way, did you know about the War of the Roses? No. Well, go and look it up then. Like, if you didn't even know that the War of the Roses was a thing, why would you look it up? You can't. You didn't know it existed. Because yes, I agree. History education should be about nudging you in different directions to do your own research. Of course, when you're at school, the last thing you want to do is your own research. But then at least, like, have a vague idea that these things happened. And, like, dangle some interesting threads for students to then pluck at. It's the reason why I have issues with how they do North America. They portray it as empty when it's a very populous and dynamic place. The only reason Europeans had places to colonize was because half the population died from imported disease, if not so more so. True, but the conquest of, or the colonization of North America wasn't so much a matter of conquest. Yes, well, the way that Europa Universalis in particular portrays conquest versus colonization, I think, is better way of showing that, because wars in this are more between like England and France. They are big events, while okay, I don't really know what I'm talking about here. This is a dead end. Did A-level history, studied Cardinal Richelieu and Louis XIII as well as the students in the Spanish Civil War. Then you had a far better A-level history than I did. We studied the Cold War again. Admittedly, I went to a different college for A-level, so I'm not that surprised there was crossover, which is why I dropped it. Player war! Player war, player war, player war, player war, player war. Whoa, big player war. What's going on? What's happening? Aragon is involved. This is France versus Austria, the Austrian-French punitive war. This is another French coalition. France just can't help themselves. This time Castile is in the coalition as well. So it's Austria, Aragon, Bohemia, Castile, Holland, the Papal States versus France, England. Just France and England. So this time there are a lot more players involved, and we may well see the humbling of the French, I don't know. And the one who kick-started this? Austria. So now France has to actually negotiate with a player. There do seem to be a bunch of exiled troops in France at the moment, so I must have missed something. France must have been at war somewhere. Oh, and the Ottomans! The Ottomans, Lithuania and Poland also jumping on France. This is definitely the humbling of the French nation right now. Very interesting, the Ottomans. Remember, at the start of this session, the French and the Ottomans were allied. What's this about France being bankrupt? France is bankrupt. Okay, France is screwed. England must be going, why am I allied with you right now? I suspect that France went bankrupt because they've been investing in mercenaries. Let's take a look at their armies at present. So those are regular. Those are regular, and they do still have 14,000 manpower. But I think right now they're going to be hiding behind their forts and hoping the forts can do as much as possible, although the forts are going to be fighting with like half efficiency because of the bankruptcy. I think that bankruptcy affects fort defensiveness. Oh, we have a battle. Even against a bankrupt France, Burgundy's 3.5 morale against 2.3. The French outnumber them 50,000 to 7, so this is Burgundy being very, very stupid, basically suiciding themselves. But that is just an indicator of how the coalition forces could fight against the French if they manage to break through the bankruptcy. So the bankruptcy is going to last for 4 more years, so this has just happened. Morale of armies minus 50, morale of navies minus 50, manpower recovery minus 100. Ooh, I did not realize that. Advisor cost, tech cost, all up. Reinforced speed minus, global settlers, ideas, autonomy, institution spread, and absolutism. So the real danger here is the morale of armies. So this does not seem to have impacted the forts, with the exception of the fort morale being very low. So if they wanted to rush the walls once they got the breaches going, they could. Oh, Muscovy is also involved. France seems to have pieced out Ottomans already. And instead
I showed strength. I did it for the show strength. So basically, I got 100 free points and everything.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Well, I mean, all I had was humiliation because I'm not on the border with him. So it's either it was money or show strength. He's already bankrupt, so
yeah,
I'm not going to get that much in the way of money. But free 100 free points and everything's nice.
That's true. And you are pretty efficient when it comes to the monarch points and everything. But this is real humbling of France. This is interesting.
He messed up.
Yeah, he did.
The second he dissolved my alliance, things started going bad for him.
That's true.
But it was like, he came in, he's like, why do you all want to attack me? I'm like, you own their provinces. Why would they not want to attack you?
Yep. Look at the goals, France. Look at the goals.
So, yep. I knew as soon as 1497 came around and that coalition can fire again, half of them wouldn't be low enough, including 2 players.
Yeah.
They messed up the first time. They didn't declare it before Ulm did, because that way Ulm controlled the peace deal.
Yeah, and this time Austria does. And they brought in Castile, Holland, Austria, obviously, Bohemia. Yeah, there's a lot of players involved in this one.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, but France was also bankrupt.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, they have no army. So
they have an army, they just have no morale.
Which is the only thing that French are good for.
Yeah, and also minus 100% manpower recovery, which I hadn't realised was a part of bankruptcy. Oh, it's a battle. 2.2 morale against 3.7. This is not going to go well. It's 48,000 French. I mean, this is just the AI throwing silly stacks, but still. The French are going to lose this fight. Oh no, the French got some English reinforcements, so England is basically saving France again. Meanwhile, Val's Florence is being occupied by the Pope. Of course, the Pope's in this too.
Ooh. I do have a war score against a war go against Florence.
Well, go away. I'm giving you advice now.
Sorry.
So yeah, the Pope is currently taking on Florence, and I hadn't realised just how much of Naples the Pope had eaten up. So the Pope is actually looking really strong. I just want to double check the AE that the Pope has. So both Venice and Florence are a little upset with him, but no AIs. That was the important thing. And the Pope, yeah, is eating up Florence. Florence did not take Milan. They took Mantua, but not Milan. Parma? Parma is a Florentine vassal. So they did take the Parmese territories. But man, this is a really strong Pope. I'm liking this. Can I ask what caused the bankruptcy? I don't want to do it while they're fighting. I'll do it when they're done. (1498) is way too early for revolutionary France to appear. France is screwed. Yeah, they kind of are. And is this a battle pope? I'm curious. I think it's too early. External mission, war score against other religions. Tolerance to true faith, prestige provide development, safeguard holy sites. Where's Battle Pope?